All right, so this is part two of talking about me and like who I am and all that. I was talking about the whole powerlifting and martial arts thing, and I guess I ran out of space, so I had to like uninstall a game from Steam so that I could actually continue making videos. But yeah, okay, so if you watched that video and you was interested enough to listen to this video, now I'm going to talk about the non macho stuff because, yeah, powerlifting and martial arts kind of makes me seem like a meathead, but that's not all I do, right? So, another big part of what I do and what I enjoy is my what's it called intellectual pursuits. So I've been studying philosophy and psychology and sociology for about 6 years now. Um, yeah, it's about to be. Let me see. When I was 28, 28. Eesh. It's actually more like 7 years. It's about to be 8 years, right? Now I didn't go to school, so I'm not gonna consider myself some sort of scholar or anything, but I have read everything that you're supposed to read when you're into philosophy and psychology and all of that multiple times, plus just like thousands of hours worth of YouTube over the years. And I'm not saying YouTube is like, the education, the books were, but I was interested in the topic, so, more YouTube is not going to hurt, right? Like, YouTube videos aren't going to hurt. So yeah, so all of that, right? And I did develop my own things along the way. Maybe it exists somewhere else out there, but I've never heard of the things that I've developed, so I assume that I'm the person that, came up with it first or discovered it first, whichever way you want to look at it. For instance, I have something that I call um, the line from experience to action, which pretty much I state that people have experiences. Those experiences are interpreted by the person according to their past experiences and those interpretations. So when you have an experience, you interpret it, and that interpretation leads to either negative or positive feelings and thoughts. So so whenever you have an experience, you develop these negative or positive feelings and thoughts, and those negative or positive feelings and thoughts are what you use to interpret future what's it called experiences. And when these negative feelings and thoughts are continuously reinforced, they become beliefs. um, and those beliefs are what fuel your will and desire, because when you believe something, it causes you to want something, right? You can't say I want this over that without believing that this is better than that, right? So your beliefs cause you to will and to desire. Well, mostly it causes you to desire, and then desire is the fuel of will. Without a desire, your will can't do anything, and then will is what causes you to act, right? So but the thing is, once your will is activated and you commit the action, that action now causes you to have a new experience, and the cycle continues. And what happens over time, these new experiences, this cycle is like, repeating, and these beliefs either get further reinforced or challenged. When a belief gets challenged over and over and over and over again, this makes you more susceptible to changing the belief, but it doesn't mean that that actually happens. Because some people, when I say challenge, it's like it really comes down to the nuance of the word challenged in this context. Because if you have a belief and it's challenged but it hasn't been disproven to you, then you might instead dig your heels deeper and choose to believe it even harder, right? But when I say challenged, I mean that it was challenged according to your understanding. So if you have a belief and now you say, oh wow, this piece of information makes me think that this belief might be wrong. And then you keep having those experiences over and over again. So, according to you, this is truly challenging because you're being convinced that it's incorrect, right? Um, and once you're convinced that it's incorrect, you'll probably not believe that anymore. And either you'll have some sort of paradigm shattering experience where, oh my God, what would I do without my God type experience, or it might be something more laxed or whatever. But ultimately, what happens is, when it comes to these beliefs, for most people, they don't like empty space, so you're probably going to try to find the next thing to cling on to. Personally, I would recommend that when you're getting rid of beliefs, not to just cycle them in and out with other beliefs, right? You might want to challenge your beliefs and sort of shed the things that you don't need without replacing it, and try to find the ground, like the rock bottom when it comes to beliefs. And I don't mean this in the depressive way. I mean the what are you when you're shedding beliefs and shedding beliefs and shedding beliefs, and you're not replacing it with anything, right? Eventually you reach this rock bottom where the beliefs you still have at this point, these are the foundation. And where better to build your foundation than on rock bottom? This isn't going to crumble. There's nothing beneath this, right? So yeah. So that's one thing. And I say that once you understand this, you now have the capability to understand that if your action isn't achieving your desired outcome, then maybe you need to look at the belief that causes you to believe that that action is the correct action. And you might want to address that, change that, refine that until you find the action that actually gets you what you want. And once you find the action that actually gets you your desire or your goal, or causes you to achieve your goal, then do more of that, right? So for me, it's not about like some sort of desire to find an absolute truth. It's more about a desire to find the thing that works, right? Something might not be 100% absolutely true, but if it continuously gets you what you want, and not in a unethical sense, like I'm not saying like, oh, like you're making money off of like lying to people or whatever. I'm saying like let's say, I don't have a good example right now, but if you were to believe something that isn't guaranteed to be true, but it does do what it's supposed to do, and it either gets you your desires, gets you to like achieve your goals, or provide something that you find valuable to your life, then you should keep it, because at the end of the day, everything you believe isn't guaranteed. So what's the difference, right? And I don't say this as like I'm an anti-truth type person. Like, truth is good. You should know more things that are true. But most of the time, when we arrive at a truth and believe that it's the truth, like, how do we know that it actually is, right? Unless we're talking about something that's you know, I forgot the philosophical term, like A must be A, like A cannot be not A, type thing. Like I mean, even you see that's why I say nothing's truth, because I could say I can't, like, this is a vape. I cannot say this is not a vape because it is a vape. But if it broke, it would no longer be a vape. It would be a paperweight, right? So, but technically it would still be a vape. It would just be a broken vape. So it really depends on how autistic you want to be with your language, right? Personally, I like to be very autistic, but yeah, but that's one thing in philosophy and psychology, and technically that's also a psychological thing. Personally, like, when it comes to psychology, I'm more of a Carl Jung type guy. But another big thing about philosophy and psychology for me, I like to study it and then develop my own thoughts and try to see where I agree and disagree with these people. I don't want to become like these people that read who is it, Agrista, or I don't know, whoever, like the people that were doing stoicism. Like, I don't want to read a book about stoicism and now I'm a stoic. I have to live by this philosophy for the rest of my life, and everything needs to be on freaking, I need to cross the stoic like I's and T's and all that. Like, it has to be stoic every single time. Like, that's annoying. And like, just, oh my god, it's like, just freaking dweeb. um I'm sorry, like, stoicism is cool, and I'm not trying to shit on you if you're stoic. But, like, if you read a stoicism book and now this is your whole freaking life, like, you probably want to reassess your whole freaking life, dude. Like, there's other things out there, right? Like, there's no reason to read a book and then turn it into your, like, freaking mantra. But yeah, so I get a lot of cool stuff from Stoicism, and a lot of mystical philosophies coming from like Hermeticism, Neoplatonism, different sects of Hinduism. Like, personally, I really like the Bhagavad Gita and the Tao Te Ching. These are awesome books. There's a lot of cool stuff in what's it called, tantric Buddhism, and all of this type of thing. But it's hard to find, because when you find books, they usually write books on the thing that people are interested in, because that's what's marketable. So it's a lot harder to find the niche topics, right? Like, what does it mean when you no longer have a static persona, where you're like this one person, and I believe this, therefore I must act like this and feel like this, and etc. etc. Like, what happens when those layers get peeled back, and now you're a little more multi-dimensional, where you have an experience, and instead of saying I believe this, instead you say, well, I think 5 years ago I would have believed this, but 10 years ago I would have believed that. I think my father would believe this about that, but my uncle would believe that. Oh, my friend thinks this about that, and etc. 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 Right? And then it just snowballs until you're like, this group of people would say this, and these groups of people would say that, and next thing you know, a basic experience leads to this lightning speed process of running through all of these different perspectives. And instead of having a singular perspective of your own, where now you're beholden to it, is like, I believe this and I must uphold it. Instead, it's like, this is what humanity has thought about this type of experience. And I think that I would like to be here for these reasons, right? It's like, this sounds the most sound, the most um the most appealing, the most evidence backed. Maybe this sounds like the most whatever, like whatever metrics you use to decide what makes a particular belief more appealing than another one, right? And these are very deep topics within Hinduism and Buddhism. But it's hard to come across. I can't even remember the name of it. I think it's a Sanskrit word for this type of being, right? And of course, there's all the traditional stuff like Plato and Cornelius. I forget these guys' names, honestly. All of the freaking, all of these crooked. No, no, let me stop. What are these people called again? Jeez. Um, the Greeks. The Greeks. Okay, those guys. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff there, but there's also a lot of more cool stuff when you start getting into the esoteric side, because then you have people like Israel Regardie, people like Aleister Crowley, like Madame Lebowski. Ooh, did I say that? Yeah, Madame Lebowski. I think I said that correctly. But yeah, whatever. And then we have people that might not be philosophers, but you can learn things from like Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft, etc. Like some of these stories do uh, tackle parts of the mind that you might not find other places. Personally, I think that the philosopher that I follow the most might be Nietzsche, but I'm also really fond of Mainlander. Mainlander? Yeah, Frederick, whatever. So Nietzsche and Mainlander, and yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and when it comes to sociology, I'm not that great at it because I'm not really sure where to go. Like, I don't know who's a prominent sociologist or whatever, and like anthropology would be really important there too. And I don't know any important anthropologists. So I'm when it comes to these topics, I draw a little blank on how do I even begin to understand it. But for me, sociology is more about combining philosophy with psychology and then understanding these things when there's two versions of it and they meet, right? So when person A and person B, there's these beliefs and they're interacting, like trying to understand that interaction where it's sometimes it's conflict, sometimes it's mutual friendship, and etc etc, and then trying to understand this on a much larger scale when you have a community with many moving parts and how people interact with each other and interact with the environment, because the environment is a big part of how we function, right? You're walking down the street, that you know this place sells this, that place sells that. When you go into these places, you see other people often because you both purchase the same types of things. As you're walking, you're gonna see ads and all of these types of things, and these things work their way into your psyche. Once you've seen a McDonald ad for the 1500th time, I don't even think McDonald's does ads because I never see them in the street really, but you know what I mean, right? Like once you've seen the same ad for like the thousandth time, you start, symbols and words start becoming associated with it, and it becomes a part of your psychology, a part of your subconscious, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff that I've learned and that I've think about when it comes to these things, and I really like science, but I am not a science guy, so I'm not going to pretend I am. But I do really like the what I understand about physics and chemistry, and just some basic sciencey stuff here and there. I try to. There's just too many fields within science, so I try to stick to the sciences that will give me information that's important based off of what I'm already doing. So some basic anatomy and biology, and biochemistry is important to me, not just because understanding the body from a philosophical and psychological standpoint, but also because I'm a power lifter and I'm a martial artist. So understanding anatomy and just like things the body can do and cannot do, and like where things are, and if I hit here, would it hurt more than hitting over there? Like these are just basic stuff that's just beneficial to me based off of what I'm already doing, right? Mm. But yeah. Um, so so that's pretty much all of the you know intellectual stuff, right? And I mean, there's a little more intellectual stuff going on, but I think it's more a little bit more on the emotional side. I don't understand how to explain my emotional pursuits because that's not necessarily a field. Maybe that's psychology, I guess. But I do like. I am very very big on cinema and media, like TV shows, movies, right? But I don't watch them solely out of entertainment, although that is the main thing. I watch them more as character studies. I try to immerse myself into the movie and sort of allow myself to experience what these characters are experiencing and try to understand how I would feel, but more importantly, I try not to like bog it down by how would I feel if I was there. Instead, I try to like become them and live vicariously through them and try to like make it as if I experienced what they experienced in the movie so that I can learn from it and I can see how people grow and change. Like I love character development and like really like diving deep into that type of stuff. And I do the same for games, right? And oh, Jesus. Ah, yeah, fuck me. You don't know some All right. Yeah. All right. I don't know how to. I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do here. This is so annoying. It's so freaking loud. I'm on the seventh floor. Why does it sound so loud? Fuck, bro. It sounds like the car is like literally. It sounds like I'm resting my head on the freaking thing. Jeez. I don't know how to continue. I want to pause, but I don't have a. Let me see if I have a pause button. All right. The. What's it called? Siren gods smiled upon me and told that car to shut the fuck up, but let me just move on. All right. So, yeah, so. I when it comes to the movies and the games, I like to see it from a more of an emotional thing, because I'm not just analytically breaking it down or looking at it from a philosophical point. It's more about me wanting to feel what they feel, right? If someone has ever told you like it's good to listen to people's stories and advice and etc., because you might learn from something, you might learn about a specific experience which will cause you to either seek out that experience or to make sure you don't have that experience. A lot of times people want to learn hands first, like hand first, like personally. But then when you learn everything from personal experience, that means that a lot of the bad stuff that you like, not bad stuff, like a lot of the stuff that you learn, like, oh, this was not cool, like you're gonna have to go through that, right? And if you can learn about that and understand the feelings and what it is in a safer environment where it doesn't actually affect your life, that's way better than actually going through it and then being traumatized and having to work through that. And it's like, "Oh, at least I learned something," right? So it's kind of a little bit better to learn some of these things from that, from movies and games. And on top of that, there's things you can't learn in real life without, you know, so like I tend to learn a lot about emotions and thoughts and beliefs from horror movies. It's like I think honestly, some of the most emotional the some of the times that I've been the most emotional during a scene was like The Walking Dead, like the first half of the series, right? Like yeah, I'm not gonna go into specifics. I'll talk about specifics in other videos. And like I've had like yeah. So that's kind of the thing, right? Sometimes like someone unalive, like, oh my god, it's not TikTok. Someone dies, and when you feel it as if you're them, it's different. It's just different, right? Like I think if you guys are like Marvel fans, like remember like when Tony um you know uh gave up the spirit because of the you know that was a pretty crazy freaking scene for most people that love this particular series, right? So yeah, so I think that's something that like to do a lot. And moving on, I think the rest of what I do comes down to art, right? So I try to make music, but because of the extra weight on my body, I lost my pubescent voice. I used to have a really cool voice when I was a lot younger, like 15 years ago. Well, actually, I think I had a like I think I kept the voice and I was able to sing pretty well up to around 30 ish, and then that's when I really like I don't know how to explain it because I started working out and then I stopped and whatever, but the majority of my gains I got it in the last 2 years. So I started like 2023 and I haven't stopped until today. I only stopped for 3 months because I got injured and whatever. So you know, but most of my gains I got in that amount of time. But I did make some decent amount of gains before because I remember when I was 24, 28, I was about maybe 180 pounds, sometimes hovering between 180 to 170 pounds around there. And I'm 200 and I hover between 220 and 226 pounds right now. And I am a little chunky, right? So it's not all muscle. But I'm about to do a cut, so I'm hoping to lose about 15 to 20 pounds, try to get to like below 20% body fat. Personally, I don't think I would ever go below 15% body fat because I'm not going to compete. So there's just not much benefit that I get from being below 15%. At 15%, you can see my abs. I don't need to be diced, right? I don't need to be like ripped. There's like, first of all, I don't like the look. It looks cool on stage, but I'm never going on stage, so why would I do it to myself, right? And also, I don't want to deal with the whole dehydrating yourself and all of that type of stuff. It's just not for me, right? I much rather stay at somewhere between 15 and 25% body fat and just be strong as shit, right? Another thing is that, like, I would prefer to be 15% body fat, but there's a few things that make me want to desire to stay a little bit higher in the body fat. Because once you get to 15% and around there, a little bit lower, your muscles start to look a lot more like prominent, right? Like right now, like if I do this, like you can see my muscles, and yeah, I'm okay sized, but the fat is hiding a lot of that definition. So I just look like somewhat kind of big when like a girl sees me. Once you start getting lower in the body fat percentage and the muscles start getting big, start looking bigger because they're more defined, a lot of people start seeing it as too much. And that's one thing that prevents me from wanting to be really low body fat. But yeah, but yeah, I was going to talk about art, so I don't know why I got into this conversation, but yeah, what was I talking about? Point is, yeah, I honestly don't remember why I started talking about body, workout stuff again. But point is, I'm gonna do a cut. I'm gonna drop a little bit of fat. Um, just to see how it feels and what type of reactions I get. Like not that I'm like out of curiosity, because still no matter whether you're shallow or not, the reality is the way you look does impact your experience because people will see you differently, right? So it is a part of your experience, right? So there's no reason to intentionally make yourself look worse. Like it would probably be better to make yourself look better, right? So yeah. But when it comes to art, so I do a lot of stuff. Oh, the singing thing, that's what it was. So yeah, I used to be able to sing freaking pretty good. Like according to everybody, I didn't even know I could sing. I just sang something one day because I was like playing around, and everybody was like, "Holy shit, you could sing!" And I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." And then I just kept doing it ever since then, right? But I lost it, and I'm starting to get it back, but I don't know how to control it well. So like I can get back to that sweet, really like high note type like voice, like like when people sing, like these guys sing, and it's not deep. It's like a high pitch. Is I don't want to say high pitch, but whatever. Point is, I'm starting to get there, but I don't have the control yet, so it still sounds like shit. So yeah. But eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to sing the way I used to, and then I can go back to doing what I used to do, right? Now the thing is that I still do write lyrics and poetry, and I play the acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and ukulele. And I do stuff on FL Studio, right? I could make beats and stuff like that on FL Studio, but I haven't mastered it because I'm not really big on the trap, hip hop, rap type thing. I can do it. I'm okay at rapping and stuff, and there's a lot of songs that are like legitimately good art, right? I can point out like a decent amount of Nas songs or Jay Z songs or Kanye West songs that are legitimately good art, right? But it's not my thing. I'm more of a folk punk, folk adjacent. So like folk punk, indie folk, and like I really like music where it's like singing and an acoustic guitar and it's like nothing else, right? But that's not where I stop, right? Like I still also like some poppy things, but it depends how poppy it gets. Like something like Billie Eilish, it would be like, okay, this is nice, right? But what's that song from White Chicks? Like this is crazy. This is my number. So call me baby. like like I like that song like sarcastically. No, like as satire, right? Or what I don't know what to label it, but yeah, but I can't listen to stuff like that. Like it's just it doesn't I just don't click with it, right? But as a joke, I'll freaking sing along to it, right? But but yeah, but and another and then that's kind of like the normal music that I listen to because you could hear the lyrics and the instrumental is like pleasant. But I find myself listening to a lot of hardcore stuff, like hardcore punk, grindcore, death metal. Of course, I like regular metal, Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace. But the thing is a lot of these things I like to listen to it, I want to make it, but I don't have the skills to do all of it. So I just stick to what I'm able to do, right? But I still do write a lot of lyrics. So yeah. And yeah, so that's my musical side. And then I also do a lot of what's it called? Well, I when it comes to like paintings and stuff like that, I started off doing a lot of like what's it called, like landscapes, basic just oil paintings, and like watercolors, and like gouache, like those types of paintings. But I noticed that I was really starting to get really good at my sketching, with pencils, and then I transitioned to pens. And when I started experimenting with pens, um, I realized that I can combine two things that I'm not that good at, and by combining it, I would actually make it good, right? So something that I do is I write books. Sometimes these books are more about an educational thing, like where I'm explaining like a specific topic. But I started realizing that when you explain a specific topic in this dry way, it ends up not being that great because like you have to be really interested in that topic to actually buy it and read it and learn from it. And also, I'm not an expert in these topics, so I might be able to explain a decent amount of it, but if you want something exhaustive, I'm not going to be able to provide it. So sometimes it feels like I might be doing the person a disjustice by writing this book and having them buy it thinking they're going to learn a lot when they're only going to learn the things that I know or the things that I've developed myself, right? So what I started doing was writing books that were fiction, and then just having it have the thing that I'm trying to teach within it. But then I started to notice that the stories weren't story based. The story was only there as a carrier for the information, and that made the story shitty, right? Because the story wasn't the point. It was like the thing that I was trying to teach was the point, and stories that aren't good stories are not good stories, right? So like it's going to be hard for you to listen to the story and learn the thing if the story itself isn't good. And I started realizing that the problem was that I'm a visual type person, and when I'm writing these stories, some of the things that I'm trying to express can't be expressed through the words directly. And I was getting better at the pen art and drawing people. So what I've done is I'm going to take this year of 2026 to learn like comic book art, graphic novel, manga, those types of things. And when I'm able to draw a singular character from every single position, doing many different actions in different environments, etc., once I'm like, I hope that I can do that within a year. When I get to that point, I'm just going to write my stories as graphic novels. And that way, I'm able to tell a story that is rich, and there's imagery, so that's you're not just getting words, you're also getting the imagery. And then throughout those stories, I want certain things to be presented and certain things to teach things, but the teaching the thing is no longer the goal. The story being entertaining and immersive is the goal. And if I do that, and I include something here and there, it's going to be way more impactful than just trying to make an entire story just so that a joke works, right? So yeah. So that is the artistic side. So I got the paintings, the art. Now I'm going into manga. And soon I should be getting one of those digital drawing things. So like so that I could connect it to my computer and I can draw like digitally, right? And then just getting like Clip Studio or something, and then going into that. So I'm gonna be changing up mediums and going digital, and I think that's gonna make things a lot easier because like digital drawing is just easier. There's tools there that can do something that you usually takes you half an hour, and it does it in like a minute. So so yeah, I'm definitely going down that path, and that's pretty much all the stuff that I do. Yeah. Yeah. So there's the physical stuff, all of the intellectual stuff, the artistic stuff, and I guess the rest is just the spiritual stuff, which is intertwined with the philosophy psychology. But I have an entire video about not need the video I got that's titled you don't need to go to the east. Western mysticism has a lot to offer and it might be beneficial. I explain a lot about why I decided to stick, like being that I grew up with Christianity, I decided to stick within this Judeo field of spirituality, but I'm not a Christian or a Jewish person or a Muslim. I'm more of a mystic. I'm looking at the Judeo tradition from a polytheistic sense. If you don't know, before Christianity and before Judaism became monotheistic, it was polytheistic, and Islam was also polytheistic before this. So if you read the Bible and you've heard of the Elohim, when you start looking into it, the Elohim was actually a pantheon with El being the leader god. Ashira was his, his wife. And then El had many sons, one of which was Baal. And if you read the Bible in Deuteronomy, Baal ends up getting labeled the worst enemy of God because they were all in the Yahweh cult. And Yahweh didn't want Baal to pretty much take the throne. Yahweh wanted to take the throne. And they also ended up saying, hey, from here on out, Yahweh's the only God for everybody, right? So this is kind of like how, like the boy that ate the world kind of thing, is like Yahweh just took control of everything after that point. But I think the Jewish people no longer use the word Yahweh, or I'm not sure if they still conceptualize their God as Yahweh, but from my understanding, Yahweh was a son of El, but that's just one interpretation that I think might have developed later on. What I truly think happened is that Ein Sof, which is part of the Tree of Life, Ein Sof is considered like the supreme divinity, and its God name is the Tetragrammaton, which is Yod He Vav He, which is four letters, right? Which we when we look at it, when it's not written in Hebrew, it's the, I think I forgot which letters it is. The YW, Yod He Vav He, the YWVW, or UW or something like that. So yeah, that's the Tetragrammaton. So yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff there, but originally Judaism was polytheistic. Pretty much it was the Elohim, and beneath them was the entire Canaanite pantheon. And there's a lot of mixing and matching with the Assyrians and the Mesopotamia. Well, pretty much Mesopotamia, because Mesopotamia is like the collective of that entire region. So yeah, and then the Zoroastrians and etc. etc. So there's a lot of stuff there, and there's so much to learn from. And I would say that I'm a theist because I do believe in these entities in a sense. If I really got into the nitty gritty, you would say like, oh, like this doesn't really sound like theism. It sounds kind of like I don't know, like maybe some sort of pantheistic version of atheism where all of these entities are just like ooh, I don't I I can't say the words. Hold on. Idol ideography idolography. I don't remember how to say the word. But yeah, it's more like this is presented as a god, but it's actually a way to teach something, right? So like from the Jungian perspective, like archetypes and stuff, like these are all parts of our subconscious and etc. But I've had enough experiences to believe that there's entities outside of me. But the if I'm trying to be as skeptical as possible, what I can say is that I perceive them to be outside of me. Still, everything that I experience is experienced inside the mind, so most likely these things are being experienced in my mind, but my mind is projecting it in front of me, so I'm experiencing it as if it's a individual thing apart from me. Um, and ultimately, I don't really care if it's 100% real or not. Only thing I care about is what does it add to my life? Does it benefit me? Does it provide depth or whatever? And the ethics around it, right? Like, is this thing something that's trying to control me and rule over me through fear, or is this something that's trying to make my life better? And if it's trying to make my life better, is it actually making my life better? And if it is, and I personally find it appealing and and I enjoy it, then what's the problem, right? Why not engage with it, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I stand with that type of stuff. And if you want to get into more nitty gritty, I have an entire hour video with that. Don't go, no need to go to the east, video that explains, if you're trying to be spiritual or mystical or whatever, you don't have to go to Hinduism. Although Hinduism is awesome, and I learned a lot of stuff from Hinduism, you don't actually have to choose one or the other. You can combine. You can learn from the East and the West. But in this video, I'm just explaining the fact that if you grew up with Judaism or Christianity, there's a lot of beliefs that are already like woven into your mind, into your subconscious, and instead of getting rid of it and trying to deconstruct it, you can take advantage of the fact that this thing is already there and it's a strong belief, right? So if you already believe in the Judeo God very strongly, like you just have to shift a few things here and there and you don't have to get rid of the whole thing. It's just the God name is no longer Yahweh, the supreme divinity is Yadhe Vavhe, and the physical anthropomorphized God is El. And then you start going down that line and you start realizing what all these things have to teach and what they mean. And yeah, so yeah, and then something that I'm going to mention here is that when it all boils down, I practice Kabbalah and Solomonic magic, and through these things, I have access to 72 demons, 72 angels, 74 saints, and my patron saint right here, you can see in the gold, La Santísima Muerte, which is the 75th saint, but she's my patron saint. She's like the one I pray to and all of that. And I perceive, El as the leader of the Elohim, but I just don't know much about how to incorporate that. Like I could, when if I ever pray to God, and I'm not praying to Santa Muerte, like I'm praying to God in general, I assume that it's being directed to El, but based off of what I know about the Bhagavad Gita, everything is within Krishna. So when I pray to El, I'm just praying to a specific avatar of Krishna, right? Um, and but that's not. This is just like a deductive thing. This is not literal, right? But yeah, but it's somewhere around there, right? But and also like I practice tantra, so my patron goddess would be Kali. So that's kind of where I get the ideas of non-dualism and the disattachment from ego and the deconstruction of narrative, and the dissolution of singularity within personality and identity. So I lost attachment to identity. So I don't have to be this stagnant one person that must be like this and must do that and must believe this. I'm more multidimensional, where I experience things by saying, these groups of people would have felt like that, like this is the experience. These groups of people would have thought this and felt that. These groups of people would have felt this and felt that. My best friend would have thought this. My father would have thought that. And I start looking at all of these multitudes of perspectives, and when they all come together, I start to narrow it down and say, I think I feel comfortable right here, and I have my reasons for that, right? So there is no solidified, this is my position. It's more like these are the positions, and I think I'm going to travel down this road because it seems a little more appealing to me than the other ones, right? So yeah. All right. So yeah, I think I've yapped for long enough. Alrighty. I think yep. Let me see. So we got the spiritual stuff down, the art, the intellectual, the kinetic, the physical stuff. That's pretty much everything. Yep. Alright, guys. Peace out.